President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi was received by the French counterpart Emmanuel Macron on a dinner banquet at the Élysée Palace in Paris. Presidential spokesman Ahmed Fahmy said that President Macron welcomed President al-Sisi and expressed his country's appreciation for Egypt. The details. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met with the French counterpart Emmanuel Macron on a lunch banquet the French president has held on al-Sisi's honor at the Élysée Palace in Paris on Thursday. Presidential spokesman Councillor Ahmed Fahmy said that President Macron welcomed President al-Sisi and expressed his country's appreciation for Egypt. Macron also expressed appreciation for the deep relations binding Egypt and France, especially on the economic level. The French leader stressed the country's keenness on continuing consultations and coordination with Egypt as one of the key regional partners, hailing the Egyptian vital role in maintaining peace and stability in the Middle East region. For his part, President al-Sisi hailed the remarkable growth in the bilateral relations between Egypt and France at all levels, stressing his keenness on continuing the political coordination and exchanging views with France in various international and regional issues of mutual concern. The meeting tackled the means of boosting bilateral relations, as well as the regional and the international issues, including Russian-Ukrainian crisis and its impacts on the food and energy world markets. The two leaders also discussed the situation in Sudan and the means of coordinating efforts with Egypt as a pioneering partner to the European Union in fighting illegal migration. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi addressed the Roundtable 2 a new way. Green growth partnerships within the participation in the new Global Financing Pact Summit in Paris. President al-Sisi said that the developing countries were the most being impacted by the climate change repercussions during the past years. He stressed that the green growth is not a substitute for the sustainable development, but rather a catalyst, adding that the African countries are mostly affected by the climate change. President al-Sisi revealed that the development bank's policies should be developed to maximize the capabilities, stressing that the decisions must be taken rapidly to prevent a major debt crisis. President al-Sisi said that Egypt aims at translating the ambitions and the commitments related to the climate, adding that it set an ambitious program for transforming to new clean energy resources. He pointed out that Egypt has a growth vision which is based on providing job opportunities and decent living conditions to the citizens, noting that the state prepared a debt management plan for the sustainable development. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met with President of the European Council Charles Michel on the sidelines of the new Financing Compact Paris Summit. Presidential spokesman Ahmed Fahmy said that President al-Sisi welcomed the continuation of communication with the Council and praised the Egyptian-European relations. The President also expressed his keen interest in developing the bilateral relations and enhancing the cooperation between the two sides, taking into account the partnership in the Mediterranean regional neighborhood and the importance of coordination in addressing the current challenges. For his part, the President of the European Council held the consultation with President al-Sisi and standing on the Egyptian stances towards the discussed issues in light of the Egyptian strategic partnership with the European Union. Fahmy added that the meeting tackled fostering ties between the two sides within the framework, the priorities of the Egyptian-European participation until 2027. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met the Tunisian President Kais Saied on the sidelines of the summit for the new Global Financial Pact in Paris. Presidential spokesperson Ahmed Fahmy said that President Sisi praised the fraternal bilateral relations between Egypt and Tunisia, stressing the Egyptian support for Tunisia during the current circumstances, and stressed the Egyptian keenness on continuing cooperation with Tunisia on various levels. For his part, the Tunisian president affirmed the country's appreciation of the close ties and relations with Egypt. He also hailed the Egyptian achievements on the economic and the social levels, in addition to the political length of it on the regional and the international levels. Minister of Defense and Military Production Mohammed Zaki attended the graduation ceremony of the new batches from Nasser Military Academy and the College of Command and Staff. A documentary film was displayed at the beginning of the celebration on the Academy's training programs, which were held during the current academic year for the qualification of a number of civilians and military leaders in the political, economic, strategic and national security fields. Nasser Academy Chief Ashraf Faris addressed the ceremony where he stressed the armed forces' keenness on providing continuous support and close follow-up on the Academy's activities and developing the educational process for the students. Meanwhile, the Defense Minister honored the top students and granted certificates for the distinguished ones. The fourth session of the National Dialogue Community Access kicked off at the conference hall in Masr City. The Committee of Families Issues discusses along two sessions the reasons of domestic violence and means of facing it, as well as the electronic risks. Meanwhile, the Committee of Culture and National Identity will tackle the means of expanding the benefits of the cultural institutions in Egypt. Draw pilgrims started to flow from Medina to Mecca to continue the Hajj rituals after spending 5 days in the holy city. The Draw Hajj mission are accompanied by the police officers from the Interior Ministry to ease the procedures required for the pilgrims. The Interior Ministry offered the pilgrims facilitations, including residence and transportation, to perform the Hajj during its all stages. Head of the Suez Canal Authority, Vice Admiral Osama Rabia, held a press conference to review the achievements and the revenues as well as the statistics of the current fiscal year and the updates of developing the South Sector project. Rabia said that the Suez Canal revenues have reached $9.4 billion during the fiscal year 2022-23, with an increase of 35% compared to the last year, despite the global economic crisis. He noted that developing the South Sector project is expected to be finished by the end of the current year, pointing out that the development of the waterway comes on top of the authority's priorities. And still in Egypt, the stock market indices fluctuated, being affected by the selling operations by the Arab and the foreign investors. The main EGX 30 index sold 0.04%. The small and medium EGX 70 index lost 0.8%. The more expanded EGX 100 index lost 0.41%. The overall transactions and dealings within the session reached £1.9 billion.